Welcome to Houston Sports Talk with your host, Robert Land.
Thanks for checking into the best Houston sports podcast, part of the National Bleav Network. And joining me is a two-time Division III national champion, a fourth-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who played with Maurice Jones-Drew, DeAndre Hopkins, Arian Foster, and future Hall of Famers Mike Evans, Vince Wilfork, and J.J. Watt. He's a high school quarterback who became a Texans wide receiver and now host of Bleav in Texans. We welcome in Cecil Shorts, and man, I love that you're now a Bleav colleague. Welcome, man.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me, Robert. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad to be on here with you.
Hey, we're going to get to the current Texans in a bit, but I'm not sure everybody knows this part of your story. You weren't only an NFL wide receiver, you were an NFL wide receiver that came from a Mount Union roster that won a national championship, and you didn't move from quarterback to wide receiver until Pierre Garçon, who later got drafted in the NFL, left school, I should say. Is that right?
Yeah, I ended up switching in college. So my first year of college, I redshirted, and Pierre was like a junior or senior. He's older than me. And then my second year, I was the backup quarterback. So my redshirt freshman year, I was backup quarterback. I was like number 6 receiver. So it was 5 seniors in front of me, and then I was the 6th guy. And Pierre was the number 1 guy at the time. So he ended up getting drafted that year. I think we won national championship that year. He ended up getting drafted to the Colts in the 6th round. And then that following year, we found a guy named Greg McCaley, who's a really good quarterback. Ended up winning the Lardy Award, which is like the Division III Heisman Trophy, and they moved me to receiver the same year, and things kind of worked out well the next 3 seasons there at Mount Union.
I would say so, because it's a dream come true for anybody to get picked in the NFL draft, but it had to be especially sweet for you as the highest draft pick in Mount Union history. What are your memories of draft day, and what did that feel like to get that far in the whole process?
It was it's still surreal. It's still just surreal. You know, I always kind of was the underdog. I always kind of was overlooked, and to be able to have that opportunity to play in the NFL and to last 6-7 years, it was amazing. So it was draft day was an amazing feeling. So it's nothing but love, man. And I always have love for my D3 brothers that make the NFL. So I try to keep a tab on whoever's doing well, whether it's Mount Union or whoever else, and they get a shot. I kind of just try to reach out to them, wish them the best of luck. Like, hey, if you guys need anything, I'm here. I understand the grind. So yeah, it was a special day for sure.
You played for 4 years in Jacksonville before you came to Houston. I'm guessing you matched up against Kareem Jackson and Johnathan Joseph a few times. Do you have any favorite memories from playing against the Texans?
Probably the most fun game playing against them was the year, I can't remember what it was, maybe 2012, where Dre ended up having a walk-off touchdown, right? He went crazy that game, like 200 plus yards. But Justin Blackmon, that was his breakout game as well. He went for like 238. I had a long touchdown catch that game. Actually, it was a short catch. It was a long run. It was like a 5-yard hitch, but I caught it and ended up making Kareem miss and going like 60 yards. But that was a fun game to be a part of. This high-powered offenses that day. I don't know if we were high-powered during the year, but high-powered that day. And it was fun. So that was definitely fun. And then anytime I played against J. Joe, he always was teaching me and coaching me after the game. I took heed to that. I listened to him, because J. Joe, to me, was one of the best in the game at that time. He was top 10, top 15 corner easily. Like, he was just so smart, so good at what he does. We had a high respect for him in Jacksonville, just because how talented he was and how smart he was, how intuitive he was about the game. So there were certain things he caught on during the game, like on signals or route concepts that we were kind of basic on or not that good on. And he was like, hey, y'all need to switch this up. I knew it was coming. Or, hey, on this route, do this next time. And I just learned, and I took everything in. So when I got to Houston, hey, what up, J. Joe? And then I still was picking his brain, asking different questions. So that was cool too.
How unusual is that for a guy opposite you to give you advice?
I think that's just who J. Joe is, right? I think when you have relationship with people and you build relationship, and the NFL is it's big, but it's a small pond. And you start learning from the vets around you. I don't think it's that, rare, honestly. Maybe not right after the game, but during the season, and in the off season, even during the off season, you talk and you communicate and you work out together. So I don't think it's that far fetched. It's just in between those lines, you go at it and you go, you that's your brother, but you just go at it with each other, and try to beat him in any way you can. So I don't think it's that far fetched, but I was definitely grateful for that time happening.
You sign with the Texans, and then you get to play alongside DeAndre Hopkins in his first Pro Bowl season. Take us behind the scenes on young Nuke Hopkins. What do you remember about him, Cecil?
He was unselfish. It was almost weird because he was like, "Hey, they're doubling me. Cecil's open. Hey, Nate Washington's open. Hey, Jaylen Strong is open." Like he was like trying to. He's a winner. Like he wants to win. He cared more about winning than his self accolades, and that just made us like tighter as a bunch. Like, all right, cool. Like he is. We know who he is. First round pick, Pro Bowler that year. He was just phenomenal. You see the talent every day. His hands are like size 4X gloves. Like two of my hands is one of his hands. That's how big they were. But he was exceptional talent, exceptional person off the field. He was fun to be around. He was awesome. To me, he's a future Hall of Famer. I think some people may argue that, but his numbers, I think, are pretty high up there. He's been playing well for a very long time. And hopefully he does some good things this year with the Baltimore Ravens. Not when they play the Texans, but, the other 16, 17 games, he can ball out and do well.
Yeah, no question. I always thought at that point, that real Texans peak of his career, he was a top 2 or 3 guy in the NFL at wide receiver. Is that the way you felt? I mean, there's Antonio Brown, I think, around that time, but where did you put him when he was at his peak?
He was top 5 for sure. I got to think of the people. Antonio Brown was around. I think AJ Green was around. Julio Jones was around. Larry Fitz, I'm not sure exactly where he was, if he was older or not, but he was still hanging around. But to me, he was top 5 regardless. Like he was the guy that produced no matter who the quarterback was, no matter what the situation was, no matter who was checking him, who was on him, if he was open or not, he's going to come down with the ball. Like he was just phenomenal when it comes to his catch radius and the way he's just able to catch the ball, strong hands, his physicality, his route running is, to me, was not looked at enough. He did a really good job creating separation and finding ways to get open. And his run after the catch, too, he did a really good job. So he was definitely, in my opinion, top 5 guy. I think AB and Julio were 1, 2, however you want to put it. And then he's in that 3, 4, 5 category when he was in his prime.
So it was DeAndre just starting off when you got here. Your only season here was also Arian Foster's last season with the Texans. You also faced him in Jacksonville for years. What do you think about when you think about Arian Foster? Did you get to know him at all too when you became a teammate with him for the brief time?
The most interesting man in football. We had some really, really good conversations from everything from religion to football to everything off the field. He's a very talented human being as far as playing instruments and being able to rap and being able to be poetry and create these things. He was just awesome. He was just so interesting to talk to and have fun with. But when he was healthy, when he was on the field, he was the smoothest running back I have ever seen in my life. I mean, smooth. It was nothing that's going to speed him up, nothing that's going to slow him down. He played at his tempo, and it was amazing to watch firsthand. I played against him for a long time in Jacksonville, and he kicked our butt for many years. And be able to see it up close and personal. And it wasn't his best year when I was there. He battled some injuries, but he was just smooth, and his ability to catch out the backfield and run routes, there was no linebacker that could touch him. There was no safety that could touch him. Like it was a mismatch anytime you put him in a slot, anytime you put him out wide. It was just fun to watch, man. And so to me to be a part of it for him for a little bit was pretty cool. He was by far I think he's the best running back in Houston Texans history. Like no question about that. He's a guy I wish could have stayed healthy his entire career because he could have put up some crazy numbers. Like he was special, man. He was just different than any other running back in the league as to how his running style was and how he ran with the ball and how smooth his running. He was just super, super talented, and I was blessed to be able to know him. And actually, it was cool when he came back this past season. I got to introduce him coming out right before the game. I can't remember what game it was, but that was his first time in the building. And the crowd erupted. The McNairs were so happy. Like everybody felt that he needed to. They were trying to get him to come back, and then that he's actually there. It was an amazing feeling for the entire building because he is the greatest running back to ever wear a Texans uniform.
Yeah, I go back in Houston all the way to Earl Campbell, and in Houston pro football history, he's no question the second best running back I've ever seen, and absolutely would have been a Hall of Famer if he would have stayed healthy. And that's what sucks. I would have loved to have seen a lot more of him run the football. It's just really fun watching him. And in just a second, I want to ask you about a couple of your Hall of Fame teammates. But first, I just want to remind our listeners, how do you feel about the Texans this year? Let me know in the YouTube comments. We're going to talk about them in just a second. Later this week, I've got an Astros player and manager joining me on the show. And if you're a Rockets fan, go back and listen to my chat with Cooper Klein about all the Rockets news this past week. We talk about Kevin Durant, how that's going to affect the Rockets and the signings and everything. So definitely go check that. As always, you can support us and get updates on every show we drop by subscribing on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to hit us up with a quick thumbs up. You have no idea how much that helps. All right, Cecil, what were the conversations in the Jacksonville offensive room when you're preparing to play against J.J. Watt? What is that like?
There was fear. There was like, we don't have enough guys to go block. Nah, it was a high respect for him. When you're in the offensive room, especially my rookie year, or no, my second year, and they're like, okay, hey, this guy right here, number 99, and he was always circled. We literally game planned for him everywhere he went, whether it was on our right side, our left side, at defensive end, whether it was he moved the tackle, we ran away from him every single time. I can't remember what year it was. Might have been 2013, might have been 2014. But every single, like, we knew everywhere he was, and we made our call opposite of where he was the entire game. The entire game. It was unbelievable, like, now that I think about it. But he was just so talented, and he was just so good. He got better every single year, it seemed like, from, I think we came in the same year, 2011, until, whenever he decided to retire. But he was somebody that we had to know where he was at as a receiver. I played in the inside, I played outside. I had to know where he was at. Based on where he was at, different play calls, different routes, had to get the ball out quickly. He was just a game wrecker, they would say, right? Every Wednesday, your head coach would come in, and he would like, hey, this week we got so-and-so, and these are the game wreckers. J.J. Watt, first name that pops up on the board, right? So he's somebody we had to prepare for at a very high level. We had to study, even as a receiver, just to understand, okay, if he's getting to the quarterback quickly, we got to make sure our routes we're getting open quickly, and we kind of change a little bit of the game plan, going quicker routes, more screens, just stuff like that to try to influence and impact him so he wouldn't be able to make impact on the game, or try to slow down his impact on the game. But at the end of the day, man, somebody's gonna be hard to stop. Like, that's just what it is. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason. His name got retired in the Ring of Honor for a reason. He will be in the Hall of Fame. I know Andre Johnson got inducted this past summer, but I'm sure JJ will be inducted whenever his time comes in a few years. And he'll be a first ballot no matter. He'll be an easy first ballot Hall of Famer.
I assume there had to be a couple of times where you had to get in on a combo block on him, something like that. Do you remember any time where you were having to help out?
Nope. Didn't want to. Glad I didn't. I stayed outside and out the way. I didn't want no parts. Now, I tell you what though. There was a time, and I was in the Texans uniform, and we were getting ready to play Buffalo, and they made me the scout team quarterback that week. So I was doing read option against J.J. Watt. And to my credit, I'll pat myself on the back. I did juke him a couple of times inside that read option and can tricked him a few times. And he was like, hey, stop that. But no, man, he's a special dude. Like, it's unbelievable type of person he is off the field, type of person he is on the field, great teammate. He's just an all-around good dude, man. So everything that's coming for him as far as the Hall of Fame and stuff, I'm happy for him, his wife, his family. I think it's a newborn kid recently. So they deserve all the love and everything, man. They're doing a really good job.
Last one I wanted to ask you about is you finished your last season in Tampa. So just like with Andre, you were there for Mike Evans' first Pro Bowl season. What are your memories of being around the Galveston kid? And I assume he's also a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, what, 10 straight seasons, 1,000 yards? It's weird because you don't see guys that size, 6'4", 225, able to bend and move like he does. And honestly, when I saw that in person, I'm like, dog, he just different, right? And I remember his not recruiting visit, but his rookie visit to Jacksonville. We were in there playing ping pong, and to this day, he swears he beat me in ping pong. And the truth is, I killed him in ping pong. Like, dude, I killed him in ping pong like 2 or 3 games. He swears to this day that he beats me. Anyways, but I remember his rookie visit, and then we kind of connected again when I was in Tampa. And it's just different. You're not supposed to have that size and that speed and that length and then still be able to run routes. Usually bigger guys struggle to run routes. He didn't. And it's just amazing to see. And I credit that to his hard work, his athletic ability, kind of his genes, but also, not to switch subjects, when I look at Jayden Higgins, the rookie that's coming into the Texans, and his height and size is very similar to what Mike Evans was, maybe a little bit lighter, but he's even more nimble than what Mike Evans is at his size. Like, he runs routes like he's 5'9", like he's 5'10". And I'm like, guys that can do that at that size, it's just not fair. Because now you can go up and get the ball, you can run by guys, you can big body, you can post up guys, and now you can run routes too. It's just guys like that are just not fair. So playing with Mike, man, very similar to DeAndre Hopkins, very unselfish. He wanted guys to do well. He wanted guys to succeed. He was a worker. He was a competitor. Like, every day he was competing. He wanted you to know that he was just a competitor. And I actually got to play, rest in peace to Vincent Jackson. That was Vincent Jackson, I think, last year in the NFL. So to see those two guys on the outside working together, and the knowledge that Vincent gave to Mike and what Mike was learning, you can say he was just a sponge. And he would ask me questions because I was around a little bit longer than him. He was just a sponge of more information. What can I do to get better? So it was cool to be a part of that. It was cool to see him in person, but it's cool to see his career just go the way it has. He's another great human being. It's not an accident to me that these great guys are doing really good in the NFL. So I'm excited for him. Hopefully he can. I think he got a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. I mean, he's lived the life. He's lived the life. So I'm just really grateful to be able to play with him and DeAndre Hopkins and others. But yeah, Mike is special.
Did I miss any? Were there any other Hall of Famers that you played with during your career? Or those the guys?
Wolfork might get in one day. He was super funny. He loved to eat. Shane Leckler might get in one day. I don't know. Maybe Shane will get in. Shane
I
get
can
in.
see that. I can see that. I can
Down
see that.
the line. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's a good group. I mean, in a short NFL career, to play with those type of guys, and not just, Hall of Famers, but JJ Watt, upper tier Hall of Famer too.
Yeah.
I say I've talked about this with John McClain, and I think JJ probably is the best defensive player I saw. He says Reggie White, so we've debated that a little bit. But
Lawrence Taylor?
I remember Reggie and Lawrence Taylor. Yeah, that's the other guy. To me, those are the three guys. And I said, well, maybe Lawrence Taylor. He said Reggie White. I said, yeah, those two guys were good. I just don't remember seeing them just snap a ball out of midair on the defensive line and take it back for a touchdown. I'm like, if those guys could do that, maybe I'd give it to you. If they were playing tight end occasionally and catching touchdowns, maybe I would give it to you. But yeah, JJ, absolutely an upper tier guy. And since we're nearly 3 weeks from the start of Texans training camp, we got to get to this current group of guys, of course. And I want to ask you about the wide receiver room, your guys. You mentioned Jayden Higgins and Jaylen Noel. What do you see from those guys? Have you spotted any flaws from them early on, or even in the tapes?
I think at camp, at OTAs, they're still learning, right? But they both showed flashes. Like, they both show, especially Higgins, he shows flashes of brilliance out there. He looks very comfortable. Even Noel, he looks comfortable. Like, Jaylin Noel looks really, really comfortable out there. He reminds me of a Steve Smith type. Now, on film, Jaylin needs to be more consistent catching the football. I think his junior year and senior year, he kind of had a few drops here and there, but he's strong. He's feisty in the middle. He's gritty. His run after catch is fun. It's fun to watch. These two guys are going to be here a long time. I think if you're a Houston Texans fan, get ready, because this is your future. You're going to have Nico, and I like Christian Kirk. I think Christian Kirk will do some good things this year, but thinking long term, thinking long term, because the sad reality is for the players, the closer you get to 30, that's considered old. that's just
Oh, yeah.
that's just what it is, right? So in real life, Christian Kirk's young, but on the field, he's kind of getting older, right? I think Christian have a good year, but between Jaylin and Jayden, these guys are special, and I think Higgins probably had the most immediate impact right away. He'll be by far the number 2 receiver, and going against Higgins, Lassiter, going against Stingley every day is only going to get you better. Like, it's not going to do anything but get you better and get you ready for game day each and every week. But he's a competitor. Like, to be that size, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but be that size and be able to be nimble like he is. He can shake guys. His run after the catch to be 6'4" is really good. He runs routes like he's a smaller guy. He's just impressive. I don't know how he ended up at Eastern Kentucky coming out of high school. Some guys are late bloomers. I get that. It's something about what that receivers coach at Iowa State. He really helped develop these guys, and they look really good and they look ready to make plays early on. So I love those two. I love Christian Kirk. I think he can do some really good things. He's just a savvy vet. And I know he had an off year last year. I think the year before that, though, his first year in Jacksonville, I can't remember his first year in Jacksonville. Maybe it was 23, his first year in Jacksonville. He went crazy. Like, he went nuts with Trevor Lawrence. And I think that's still in him. I think he's still able to make big plays down the field and be another security blanket, over kind of almost some crossing routes and over routes and then just option routes. I imagine that Nick Caley, who was most recently with McVay, but also was with Josh McDaniels, will have a little bit of New England in him. And when you see a Jaylen Noel, and when you see a Christian Kirk, I expect option route city. Like, I expect them to do some option routes where the receiver can't be wrong. If it's zone, he'll sit in the right zone. If it's man, he'll beat his man and break outside. If they're playing heavy outside, he'll fake outside and come inside, and the ball coming in hot. And those are easy 5-6 yard routes that can turn into big plays anytime. So I'm really excited about the room. Of course, Nico is who Nico is, but when you look at the rookies and you look at Christian Kirk, these guys are going to be immediate impacts, and I wouldn't be surprised if the offense opens up a lot with all these weapons in that receiver room.
From your perspective as a receiver, is there anything you think Caley's going to do that was missing from Slowik's offense the last couple of years?
I think the biggest thing is CJ is going to be able to call what he sees at the line of scrimmage. Just watching the Rams film, being a part of a New England offense with Bill O'Brien for 15 and 16, I know all that it entails, right? And everything that comes with the McDaniels way, the McVay way. He'll have the keys to the vehicle. Like, he's going to be able to slide protections. He's going to be able to come to the line of scrimmage with 2 plays and be able to check out of a play if a certain coverage happens, or if you see a blitz, check into a play. He'll be able to communicate with his receivers on different hot routes. He'll be able to just do a whole lot more, which will put more on the entire offense, but it'll make things a lot smoother, if that makes sense. I also think the run game is going to be incredible. I think the run game is going to be better than previous years, just because he'll have an identity of how he wants to run the football. He'll have an identity of what that will look like, and then they will execute in that fashion, right? And I think last year you struggled with no identity with Slowik. I think people were surprised Slowik's first year of how successful the Texans were. I think we all were surprised how fast CJ looked amazing and how good the Texans were that year. I don't think as a whole we were expecting too much. We were excited, but we weren't expecting too much. So they kind of outlived that. And then the second year, when people get film on you and can study you and you don't make adjustments, that's the issue. So this year, I think CJ will be ready to make those adjustments at the line of scrimmage, for whether it's pass protection or hot routes or changing to a run play, wherever the case may be. I think those would be the biggest differences from Slowik to Caley.
Yeah, I want to get your angle on this because you mentioned the fact that CJ is now going to get a chance to run the offense and do more with that. And one of my frustrations with the Texans for a long time, this is back into the Bill O'Brien, maybe even going back to the Gary Kubiak years, is, they don't put the other team's defense off balance because it's so controlled by the coach that I don't feel like, okay, the quarterback can hurry guys up. If the defense looks off balance, or, he sees something really quickly. The Texans offense has always been deliberate. They take their time. What's the difference, when you as a offense can get out there and maybe snap the ball in 10 seconds as opposed to 30 seconds or something like that, because the quarterback is in control. Because we saw that all the time with Tom Brady. And I mean, Nick Caley, spent a lot of time there. So what is the difference when you guys can put a team off balance, especially in the red zone, which Brady always seemed to do? You were always off balance in the red zone because he would come up and just quick snap it, and you were in trouble.
Yeah, I think it's important to be diverse. Like, you don't want the defense to set you are in trouble if the defense gets to line up how they want to line up to whatever offense you put out there. So if you come out the huddle and you line up in 2x2 and you let them line up to how they want to every single time, the advantage is the defense. You get the advantage, like you said, is when you, after a first down, hey, have a play ready. Like, simply have a play ready. Come to the line of scrimmage. Let CJ call the shots. Hey, we're running this, we're running that, boom, boom. And then they can't exchange defensive linemen. They can't exchange their nickel who's in the game for a linebacker. They can't switch around. If you keep them off balance, you're winning that drive. You'll probably win that play, right? So I think it's critical. I think it's super important, like you're saying, to keep the defense off balance with different tempos, with different personnel groupings, with a bunch of different play calling that's not predictable, right? I think in the previous year, especially the last 2 years, things got real predictable when you were going to run the ball and when you're going to pass the ball. Like, it was just so predictable, and I think people got tired of it. But also, I think this year, you'll see a lot of creativity from Nick Caley, because you got a guy like Woody Marks. You got a guy that Woody, for example, you can have him in the backfield and Joe Mixon in the game at the same time, motion him out. Now he's a slot receiver. So now you got Christian Kirk, Nico, Woody, Jayden, and Joe Mixon all the game at the same time, right? Or you can mess around and go 12 personnel, whatever the case may be, and move people around. And it's just, you have more weapons to play with. And with those weapons, you still can play fast because they're all capable of moving quickly. You still be able to go empty. You still can go quick game. You still can take shots down the field. I think it's extremely important that find your identity, do what you do well, and then make it look different. Make it look different. Have motions, have screens, have shifts, have different personnel groupings, move fast sometimes, move slow sometimes, keep them off balance, keep them guessing, and then now you'll be ahead most of the time, right? You're not going to always work, but you'll have an advantage because now the defense can't move too much. They got to stay in their basic package or their basic coverage. They can't blitz all the time because they don't know what you're going to do. So to your point, it's extremely important to keep the offense moving afloat, to keep it tempo, to switch things up, especially when you get in the red zone, because they have tendencies. The defense has tendencies, and if you can keep those tendencies off the field and you're moving quickly, you know what you want to do, the advantage is you. The advantage is to the offense.
All right, now some toughies, because this is the offensive line I want to talk to you about, and this is got to be something that is going to be the talk of the season, basically. How realistic is it for so many new players to develop enough chemistry in one season to make a Super Bowl run? Is it too much to ask for, Cecil, for them to do this?
No, I don't. I think you have quality veterans in the room. And I think it starts with your offensive coordinator and your offensive line coach. These two guys have to be on the same page. If they're on the same page, if they speak the same language, you're in a better situation. What the problem was the last 2 years, and maybe even long before that, I don't think you had enough nasty guys in the room. I don't think there's enough nasty linemen. I just don't. When I think of offensive linemen that are successful, when I think of the Philadelphia Eagles, those guys are nasty. They want to punish you. They want to rub you in the dirt. They want to be physical. They want to be the guys that are putting people in the dirt and moving, and whether it's push, whatever you want to call it, or running the ball with Saquon, they want to be nasty, right? That's what an offensive line should look like. Is it better when they are together for numerous years? Absolutely, because you speak the same language. But it's not far-fetched for them to get chemistry through OTAs, through minicamp, through training camp, especially if it's the same nucleus and they continue to get together and continue to play together. That's going to be huge. But as long as Cole and Nick are on the same page, Cole Popovich being the offensive line coach, and Nick, and I think it's important, I don't want to overlook this, they were together in New England. In New England, they were together. So they learned from one of the best offensive line coach, oh man, I think they call him Scar. He's one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL ever when he was with New England. And they both learned from him. So they speak the exact same language. So they're looking for the exact same type of player. So together, they brought in guys that they think can fit what they do well. And I think they can gel. If they stay healthy, they can gel and come along really well. I don't think it's far-fetched. And of course, the more time you spend together, right, the more time you'll be good. Well, the better you'll be as a group. But I do like some of the young guys too. I like the young kid, Ursary from Minnesota. Did I say it right? Ursary from Minnesota.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a chance to sit down with him and talk to him a few weeks ago. He got something to prove. He got something to prove. He's like, I know I'm a first round guy. I should have won first round. There's no doubt about it. And because of some off field situations or stuff, he's like, it kind of dropped me down. Well, the Texans know what they're getting, and I know what they're getting, and the time will tell. But just know I'm coming. And to hear that a type of guy that's hungry like that, that just wants to go out there and prove himself, that wants to protect CJ, that wants to be nasty in the running game. You think of Minnesota, you think of those guys are physical. Big Ten is physical ball. And if you watch him versus the guy from Penn State, Abdul Carter, he held his own. If you watch him, like watch multiple games where it's just focusing on him and whoever he's going against, he's handling his own. So he's going to be able to learn from a Cam Robinson. He's going to be able to learn from a Titus Howard. He's going to be able to learn from all these guys that they brought in and that have been here. And I think this room can really transform. But to your point, they really need to gel early on. To me, I'm big on finding your starting five early. The sooner you do it, the more they can gel, the more they can communicate, the more they can really get on the same page and understand the calls. And then once you get going, they'll know each other's calls without even saying it, and they'll know exactly what to do. I don't think it's far-fetched. I think it's definitely doable.
Yeah, people want to hear more about the Ursary story. I talked to a Minnesota Golden Gopher insider a few weeks ago. Go look for that in our YouTube page, and you'll find real interesting. I mean, this kid had to overcome a lot just to get to the point where he could get to college, much less the NFL. So he's a great story. Sort of came from nowhere. You mentioned them getting their chemistry together through the training camp, OTAs, and all that sort of stuff. Typically during the preseason, we'll see the starting offensive line play a series or two. I've always wondered, wouldn't it be ideal, especially when you're trying to put together a group, for them to play longer stretches during the preseason? I would think every rep would matter, maybe even a half, to see these guys, even in the early preseason games. Is that something that you think is valuable at all to work on chemistry? Because I don't know what the reasoning is, but they don't seem to do that. And I feel like, oh, they're worried about injuries. And I'm like, what's the difference if you get injured in a training camp or in a preseason game? I don't understand like the how they freak out about that when they're also getting all these reps during training camp as well.
I'm with you. I like the older way better, where like the first 4 preseason games, the first game you're playing 2-3, whatever it was, a quarter. Second game you're playing 2 quarters, the starters are. The third game you're playing at least one half, because you have to build that chemistry. You have to get that gelling together. And then the fourth game is for all the guys fighting, the bubble guys, fighting for the roster spots, fighting for that. Now, of course, now the number of games have changed. And then the outlook overall, like you mentioned, has changed. A lot of people are scared of injuries. I think it's important to play. That's just me. I'd rather get chemistry. I'd rather get things going, even if CJ's not even in the game. Because sometimes I understand you don't want to get your quarterback hurt. I get that. Offensive line, you're hitting every dang on play. You can't get around hitting. That's just what it is. Offensive line, you're going to get hurt. That's just what it is. So for me, I think especially offensive line, and that's what I'm hoping from D'Amico and Nick Caley, that they play a lot in preseason. That whoever the 5-6 guys are, they play a ton. But I'm not saying over a half, right? But they need to get some quarters in. And I truly believe that helps with conditioning as well. And conditioning is harder for a bigger guy than a smaller guy. And a bigger guy conditioning in a game is totally different than conditioning in practice. Like, you need those game reps to get into, okay, it's game mode, coming at me full speed. It's just a different mindset, and it's a different speed from training camp to preseason, from preseason to regular season. It's totally different speeds. So I personally think the more you play, the better. But you got to be smart, right? If a guy's battling an injury, okay, we'll sit him out and put somebody else in. But if guys are healthy, they should be getting reps. Like that first game versus, who is it the first week for preseason? It's not the Panthers. Who's the first week of I can't think of the first preseason game is. They should be playing. It's no way game. Yeah. I can't think of it. I know Panthers are the second game, and then I think Detroit's the third preseason game. But they should be playing. They should be getting those reps. The first quarter should be full, probably 2 or 3 series at the least. And then the second game, you might play up to a half, right? At least a full quarter, but up to a half, depending how many series you get, right? Maybe it's 4 series, but you need that. And it can't be just a 3 and out. It got to be 6, 7, 8 play drives, 9, 10 play drives to really build your conditioning, build that chemistry, understand what's coming. And you're not going to get a ton of looks in preseason, right? But you're still getting reps with each other, valuable reps with each other that you need to improve on from previous years, especially with new guys coming in. So I'm with you. I'm with you, right? I think it's critical that they get tons of reps. I say tons. They should get a good amount of reps during preseason, not just sit out and eat sunflower seeds on the side, right? They should get, to me, at least up to a half by the second preseason game.
Yeah, they're going to be playing a couple of old Texans, I believe, the first preseason game, the Vikings, with Blake
Yes.
Cashman and Jonathan Grenard, and that's just 40 days away, actually. So just around the corner. One last thing on the offensive line. I know a lot of fans, and I know you heard this, we're talking about why would you hire an offensive line assistant coach that couldn't correct the problem of the offensive line when he was the assistant? Why wasn't he helping us out? Did you ever see an assistant coach whose ideas were just ignored or who appeared handcuffed by other assistants when you were a player, when you're an NFL player?
Yeah, there's levels to things. There's certain guys, no matter how much input they give, no matter how much they may understand the game or have great ideas, the OC has a choice to listen or to not listen. And last year, Popovich wasn't even the head offensive line coach. He was the assistant offensive line coach. So on the protocol of how things go, he wasn't very high, if that makes sense. So he may pitch a great idea. He may pitch these things. The offensive line coach may say yay or nay. He may pitch it to the OC. The OC may say yay or nay. So it's not far-fetched that they just simply didn't listen to Popovich when he was there. That's just what it was. And I've seen that tons of times. Tons of assistants have great ideas who players love and wish they were a little higher up on the depth chart. It just, you got to wait your time and wait your turn. Sometimes it's a bad situation or just a bad timing, right? Popovich, it seems like, from things I'm hearing and what's going on, he had some ideas and thoughts, and people above him just didn't agree on the offensive side of the ball. And at the end of the day, the OC, and how DeMeco ran it last year, the OC was the head coach of the offense. So he had the final shots and he had the final say. So to me, I hold nothing against Popovich at all. And knowing his history and his background and how he wants the guys to go, and with Nick Caley coming in, I think that's a good match. I think this offense would be a lot different and a lot better in many different ways on the offensive line. Now they got to go out there and prove it. I know for a fact, and I've seen it firsthand, where assistants will bring up ideas, where guys, offensive, whether it's a assistant that's way lower or even an assistant that's higher up, will bring ideas to the OC or the DC, and they have the final say, the OC and DC with the head coach. And again, how DeMeco was running it last year, Bobby Slowik had the final say. He was the head coach of the offense. So he either listened or didn't listen. He did what he wanted to do personally. And at the end of the day, it just didn't work out well. So I don't think anything of him being in that room last year was anything. When you're an assistant position coach, you don't have much say. That's just what it is. If you're an assistant receiver coach, an assistant DB coach, you're still learning the game per se. You're still waiting your turn to be the guy. You don't have much say. You get a good relationship with the players. That's why the players love him already. But you have a good relationship with the players. You understand the game. But there's guys ahead of you that are calling the shots, and you just kind of have to abide by what they decide to do.
I want to hit one question from one of our listeners. They want to know from you, what do you think we're going to get from Nick Chubb? Is he going to be able to help out? Is he going to be able to come back from the injuries?
I think this is a situation where people are excited about the name more than what the actual reality is. So I actually covered the Browns the last few years. He's not the same guy he was 3-4 years ago before the injuries. He is a guy. This is for Nick Caserio. It's a low risk, and you will get a high reward if he turns out well. Right? You'll get a high reward. But he is somebody that is beloved in Cleveland, Ohio. He is somebody that did everything the right way. He's going to work extremely hard. He fits the culture, what they're trying to do here, fantastically. But if you're asking me, will he be a huge help in the run game? I don't know. And personally, I don't think so. I just don't think so. Well, I hope he is, but my hopes aren't too high, right? And again, this is low risk. Like, you're not spending tons of money on him. If he turns out great, oh man, your 1-2 punch with Joe and Nick can be awesome. And I think there's a spot for Nick. I think Nick can be a short yardage situation type of guy. He can be a tough runner in the goal line. I think there's a spot he can spell Joe and keep Joe a little more healthy. But if I'm being honest, this is his second major knee injury that he's coming back from. He broke his foot. He broke his foot, which is the most recent injury. And if you watch him on the Browns last year, like he lost a step. He wasn't the same guy, right? And again, it takes a while to come back from a devastating knee injury. So he came back last year from that knee injury where he tore multiple ligaments. And it takes about a year, maybe 2 years fully to get back right. But then he broke his foot. And the closer you get to 30, you know how the NFL treats backs, right? Like, you know how they treat backs. They don't. The closer you get to 30, you're a wash. They're getting you out of there. So I'm not crazy about Nick Chubb. I'm more crazy about Woody Marks, if I'm being honest with you. I love Woody Marks and what he can do in the passing game, and he can run between tackles as well. But if Nick Chubb can give you something, that's great. That's grand. That's anything. If he can give you something positive, that's anything. But I'm not expecting too much from Nick. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not expecting too much from Nick Chubb.
So it sounds like you're saying it's going to be more Nick Scrub than Nick Chubb, and Woody is a goodie. So that's the final on that. And I want to drop the bomb here right at the end. Do the Texans have the talent to win the Super Bowl this year?
Do they have the talent? Yes. Do they do it? I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot on Nick Caley being a first-year play caller. I think the defense is set up to succeed. If you stay healthy on that defense side of the ball, at every level, you have playmakers. I mean, you have guys coming into their own on defense. I think you're set, and you're deep, right? Adding EJ Speed with Henry To'oTo'o playing the way he played last year, Christian Kirk, Aziz, that linebacker room is deep. DBs, we all know, with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the corners, the safeties, there may be some surprise cuts in there. They're deep. Defensive line is deep. I think the D tackle surprised a lot of people last year, how well Tim Settle and some of those guys played. And of course, the ends and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. I expect Will Anderson to come up. It's going to be a lot on Nick Caley. It's going to be a lot. Do I think they can get over the hump and get to the AFC Championship game this year? I do. I do see that happening this year. I think that's a very reachable goal. Can they get to the Super Bowl? Anything can happen, but you got to get to the AFC Championship game first. And I think if they handle things in the regular season, they can kind of pave their way to really get to the AFC Championship game and see what things happen. Now, to answer your question, I think next year would be the year I'm saying they are truly good enough to be Super Bowl contenders, which would be CJ's fourth year, a full year under Nick Caley. He knows how to call games and big spotlights and big moments and make adjustments, because that's tough. That's tough on an OC that's never called plays before. Right, I was big on finding somebody that can come in that's called plays before. It won't be a huge transition for him. He's never called plays before, so it's going to be a transition for him. And at some point during the year, he may have some struggles, right? And I think this is the year you got to kind of wiggle it out and figure it out. But I think next year will be the year I say they have enough to get to the Super Bowl. Talent-wise, yes, they have enough. But next year, everybody's older, get mature, and Nick Caley is seasoned. This year is the year I say they get over the hump and get out that divisional round, and they beat Baltimore or KC or Buffalo or whoever's there and get to the AFC Championship game.
All right, listeners, you guys heard him. What do you think? Let us know. Put it in the comments. And he's at C Shorts, I, as in Cecil Shorts, the third on X, the show Bleav in Texans. Anything else you want to plug, Cecil?
Nope. That's great. I took some weeks off from Bleav in Texans. I've been traveling around with the family and doing some things with the NFL, but our Bleav in Texans show will be up and running next week, and I'm excited, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Bleav in Texans, as you know, like Rob, subscribe, like, those thumbs up can do a lot of good things. So appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Rob.
Hey, thanks for doing this. We got to do it again sometime. Thanks for the time.
No problem.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.
Hey, don't forget to support us by subscribing and commenting on YouTube. You can always listen to us on Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast app. Tell your friends about us and share our show links on social media. Spread the word, everybody. Thanks for listening.